this is some major help with the physics challenge. So here I have it open in Unit 7, breakout. I've already gotten my starter code downloaded, and then here are my directions. As a user, when I tap the screen, I want the blue and red ball drops to fall. The red ball will collide with the line, and the blue will pass through and fall off the screen. Look through the starter code and notice the names of the nodes, the sprites. Also notice the names and numbers associated with the categories. Find the selection marked MVP and create physics bodies for the red, blue, and line. Add the appropriate bit masks, I'm going to talk about that in 1 second, and their categories to get the desired behavior. This sounds a little scary, but this is what is essentially happening. That's the student challenge. So let me go over to the teacher. And we have these two, the red ball and the blue ball. When I click on the screen, the red ball will interact with the line and the blue ball drops all the way down. All right, so let's take a look at the code that they give us. We have our imports, we have our red, blue, and the line, their shape nodes. Here's some new stuff a little bit. So we have this line category and we have the ground category. In the Hackwitch, we made 3 balls, and I said in the Hackwitch that they're all the same category, so they're going to interact the same. You can have, like a Flappy Bird, you can have the pipes and the walls and the birds interact differently because one's a hard substance and one's a soft, or the walls and the so that's actually, you can have different categories to interact differently when they collide with things. So here we have our scene did load. The override function means that this is dominant when it gets run in the code. Otherwise, it can just stay in the background. So if we don't do a stretch, this can stay empty and not cause any problems. Then we have this function did move, so we're clicking, and if the balls did move and then interact with something. So this is already given to us, and we don't need to interact with this, but we have our blue ball, the red ball, and then again the line, which is a variable up here, and then we have the line category. Those are 2 new things. Then we have our override function, touches begin, and this is the MVP. The MVP is 6 lines of code, and I'm about to give you 2, which is I'm going to actually code the line for you because it's so new. So this is 9 lines total, but they give you this 3. I'm about to give you 2 more, and then you guys get to figure out the 4 for totally coding the blue ball and the red ball, or the red ball and the blue ball. I don't know why I highlighted those different. Okay, so what we have here is we want to create a, first we need to, just like over here, we need to, touches begin, we need to give some physics body to it. So here we've got some physics body, here we go. This is essentially what we have done with the balls, and that's very, very, very hint, similar to what you're going to do to the red ball and the blue ball, all right? So that's the first big key. I'm going to do it for the line. It's going to be slightly different, so pay attention to that. I'm going to call the variable line, which is an object, now kind of an object, a thing right here, and I'm going to give it a physics body. It's not an optional one, later it is. And I'm going to say space equals space, and I'm going to give it the physics body. This is the new part. I want the edge of the line, so there is a thing called edge chain, and that's what I want. It's brand new, we haven't used it before. I actually want it to be the edge of the object itself, so I'm going to call the variable, the name of the variable, and I want to say, hey, use the path, and I want it to be optional. So maybe the red line, the red ball doesn't collide with the line. In this case it does because the gravity's pulling it down. This is what you're going to do for the red ball and for the blue ball, only it's not going to look identical. I don't know why I can't write this down blue. It's not going to look identical because they're different categories. So instead of applying the edge chain, because that's the edge of a line, a ball really has an edge, but it doesn't in our world. Instead, it has a circle radius. All right. Actually, it says circle of radius. We actually just want circle radius. So play around with that, and for time's sake, it's in here somewhere. But we actually want the circle radius of the ball, and I just basically told you the answer. So you're going to do the red ball and the blue ball that way. All right, so those 2 lines of code. The other line is to make it collide with each other. And so this is, going back here, this is where we use this. All right, so one is going to be for the line and the other one is going to be used for the balls. So in this case, this category bit mask is saying, hey, what object are we going to collide with? And then this one is what should trigger contact. So if we think about it, in the category, we want the line to only interact with one of the balls, and we want the collision to interact with possibly both of the balls. So what we're going to do over here is for our line, and this is going to be very similar except for the line, it'll be red ball, blue ball. We're going to do the physics body. This is going to be an optional because what if they never collide? We're going to say physics body category bit mask. This is where we don't use category bit mask for the red or blue ball. And we're going to say this is the line category. What you're going to do is, now when I click this, nothing should happen over here because I haven't triggered anything for the red and blue ball. So there we go. You're going to do the same thing for the red and you're going to figure out the optional physics body for the red and blue. Differences, again, this is not going to look the same for the balls because it's a line versus the circular radius object of the object. This also is not going to be a category bit mask collision because we want the red ball to collide essentially with the line, and we want the blue ball to pass through and have the option of interacting with the grounds. So we've got some variables up here. So the red ball is going to interact with the line category, where the blue ball is going to interact with the ground category. And so that's the difference between here. So literally these are the 4 lines of code that you have to write. And then let's see in the directions, find the appropriate miss, and then when done, confirm that your story works. So that's it. 4 lines of code for that challenge. So good luck.